My name is Dr. Mohammed Sarfraz Khan, and my colleagues are Professor Dr. Byron E and Dr. Muhammad Ahmad. I'm from University of the Punjab, Pakistan. The topic for my presentation is corporate social responsibility, intellectual capital, and performance of women-owned managed SMEs in Pakistan. In this paper, we are specifically investigating the gendered perspective of SME performance management in our country. Basically, the literature available specifically does not cater to this issue, and the literature only considers these variables generally, irrespective of whether the SME or the business is being managed by a woman or men. So we believe that a gendered perspective is important because literature tells us that women basically have a different approach to the management. Let's start with the introduction. Economy of Pakistan is dependent on SME like any other country. SME is backbone of our economy as well. We have 78% of non-agrarian workforce in the country is basically employed in SME sector. 40% of GDP of Pakistan and 25% of exports of the country basically are based on our SME. On the other hand, we have lower participation of women in entrepreneurial activity. Women represent about 48% of our population, but only 1% of our population is 1% of population of females is only active in entrepreneurial activities. The gender disparities in entrepreneurial ventures and entrepreneurial activities is quite visible as it is in other countries around the globe, and this problem is quite significant in lower income countries like Pakistan. Uh, there's also a debate in the literature that women entrepreneurs have lower performance compared to the male entrepreneurs. So women basically are discouraged to take up entrepreneurial ventures, and they are encouraged to take service industry related jobs. On the other hand, there are other studies who basically highlight the women might have different entrepreneurial styles, aspirations, and they might be focusing on something on contribution rather than the economic performance of their venture. Literature also tells us that women basically have a better CSR, they drive intellectual capital in a better manner, and they are more innovative and ethical compared to their male counterparts. The question here is if we believe the literature that women might be having suboptimal performance in their entrepreneurial ventures. So how can we support women entrepreneurs to build a competitive advantage and perform better in the long run? We basically are taking two theories. One is the resource-based view of the firm, which basically highlights that businesses having unique resources, like intellectual capital is also a unique resource. They are able to build a sustainable competitive advantage in the long run. The other is the famous stakeholder theory, which basically argues that if the businesses do better stakeholder management, that is, if they are involved in more CSR activities, they are able to build a better competitive advantage. We believe, or the literature also highlights that women have different perspective on management. We believe that a woman might be able to drive intellectual capital in a better manner, and women basically might have a more serious or might have a better attitude towards the corporate social responsibility. Women might be in a better position to use these intellectual capital and CSR things to basically sustain a competitive advantage in the longer period. We are studying, or we want to study. We basically studied in this research is that how a gendered perspective could add value to the debate, and whether if we study women separately, how can we add something to the literature, as most of the previous studies they ignore a gendered perspective, and they basically study entrepreneurship on the whole, irrespective of whether males are managing a business or whether females are managing a business. So our research objectives are to investigate the impact of corporate social responsibility and its dimensions on performance of women-led SMEs in Pakistan. The second objective is to study effects of intellectual capital and its dimensions on the performance of women-led SMEs in Pakistan. The third is to consider the mediating impact of innovation and its dimension on the impact of CSR on the performance of women-led SMEs. The next objective is to assess the mediation of innovation and its dimension between relationship of intellectual capital and firm performance. And we also want to provide theoretical and practical implications for women entrepreneurship in the country. So this is our theoretical framework, as I highlighted, mentioned earlier. As I mentioned earlier, we basically have two theories. One basically is a stakeholder theory, and a second is the resource-based view of the firm. These are quite famous theories in the strategic management literature. So stakeholder theory basically highlights that if we somehow are able to manage our stakeholders in a better manner, we get a competitive advantage. We go along with the customers, we go along with the suppliers and everything else. So as per this theory, if we'll be doing corporate social responsibility in a better manner, our performance would be enhanced or improved. So with better stakeholder management, what we can do, we can improve our innovation as well. Definitely, if we are well connected with our stakeholders, with our suppliers, with our customers, they will be providing us the feedback, and we'll be able to innovate our processes and products in accordance with the market demands and things. The innovation will be mediating the relationship between corporate social responsibility and firm performance. The second theory, we utilize a resource-based view of the firm, where intellectual capital is considered as the main resource. The resource-based view of the firm highlights that if a firm has a unique package of resources, that firm is able to build a better sustainable advantage in the long run. Firms having better intellectual capital, that is basically the intellectual capital or basically the talent which is possessed by a firm. Better intellectual capital can be instrumental to improve the performance of the firm. So what we can do, if we can harness better intellectual capital management will enable us to innovate, and that in turn will enable us to improve the performance of women-led firms in the country. So the last, there's another theory, there's another sub-theory we considered in this study is the resource dependence theory. The theory argues that a business basically is run within a society, so a business cannot survive in isolation. So when we are basically operating in a society, we are dependent on the society for the resources. So if we want to have better intellectual capital, what we need to do, we need to have a good relationship with the society. If we'll be having a good relationship with the society will be providing us with the input. The society will be providing us with a better intellectual capital and also with different business opportunities as well. So in this context, if we'll be having a good relationship with the society, that is, if we'll be having good corporate social responsibility, we'll be able to have a better intellectual capital as well. So this is our theoretical framework. This is extended version of the model where corporate social responsibility has two dimensions. One is environmental CSR and second is social CSR. Environmental CSR basically deals with how we are doing with what we are doing with the environment, whether we are doing environmental friendly business or whether we are not doing that. And the social CSR basically is our relationship with the society. The intellectual capital has three dimensions. One is human capital, that is basically talented employees in the organization. Second is the structural capital, that basically is related to the culture and system of the organization. The third is the social capital. The social capital basically is related to our marketing and PR aspect of our capital. Then for the innovation, we took two aspects. One is product innovation and second is process innovation. And for the performance, we had operational performance and financial performance. So this is
2 minutes,
a broad.
Khan.
Yes.
Yeah, you have 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. So this is our research methodology. I guess I should be get going. All the scales we obtained from the previous studies, and we use PLSM for the data analysis. These are demographics of the study. We basically did model evaluation. Meyer model evaluation, and our Meyer model evaluation was good. Then this is my summary of the results. We found that environmental and social CSR has a positive and significant influence on both operational and financial performance. Human capital and structural capital has a positive and significant impact on performance, whereas relation capital failed to yield any significant impact. Product innovation negatively mediated the impact of environmental CSR on farm performance, but process innovation had positive mediation. Both product and process innovation aspect mediated the impact of social CSR on both aspect of the performance. Both product innovation and process innovation mediated the impact of human capital and structural capital on both aspects of the performance, while innovation failed to mediate the impact of relational capital on SME performance. So these are theoretical implications of my study. So this study basically documents that stakeholders and resources of firm can yield a beneficial result for the women-owned SMEs, supporting resource-based view, resource dependence theory, and stakeholder theory. This study also clarifies the misconception that women entrepreneurs can't yield suboptimal performance. With better management of the business, we definitely can improve the performance of women-owned businesses. So these are practical implications of my study. In practical context, what governments and what the other supporting agents can do, they can provide women with the resources, with the social support, and with the training to basically improve their management skills to better manage their societies, communities, to better pursue corporate social responsibility and have better intellectual capital management, I think. Thank you.